let me be plain. I actually have no evidence at all, and have seen no evidence at all, that Sir Keir Starmer is gay, that Sir Keir Starmer's wife is going to divorce him, and I wouldn't give a damn if either or both were true. It's none of my business.
This is a seismic moment that has just hit British politics, not via a parliamentary vote or via a new bill, but via one explosive speech that sent shock waves through Westminster. At the center of this political earthquake is George Galloway, one of the most contentious figures in British politics, accusing the Prime Minister of something far more serious than partisan politics, a secret financial deal with a billionaire called Lord Wad Ali. This isn't your average story about campaign donations. According to Galloway, this runs much deeper. Expensive gifts, hidden perks, and undisclosed favors that he said were carefully concealed from the public eye. And Downing Street's reaction: silence, no denials, no clarifications, just a deafening void, one which is only amplifying public suspicion and stirring unease within both Parliament and the press. What began as another fiery Galloway tirade has evolved into a test of transparency at the very core of British democracy. And then came the line that set the internet. Ablaz, karma, this is for Gaza, you have paid and you will pay a high price for the role you've played in enabling and covering the catastrophe unfolding in Palestine. But who is Lord Wad Ali? He's not just a political donor, he is a power broker, a towering presence in Britain's media industry and a quiet strategist inside policy circles. Insiders describe him as the unseen architect of Labour's messaging machine, a man whose influence seeps beyond Westminster into think tanks, digital media, and grassroots networks, shaping how Britain thinks. Galloway's warning was unmistakable. If Starmer's political loyalties are to be bound to Lord Ali, then the very fabric of British democracy is at risk. Because Lord Ali, though never elected, may wield more real power than many of those who are. Starmer's public persona Hasselways rested on integrity, honesty, and transparency, the very traits that built his rise. If those alleged financialities prove substantial, that image will collapse into something far more cynical. Not conviction, but construction. A political brand engineered by deep-pocketed backers with strategic motives. Galloway didn't mince words in his speech. No British Prime Minister has ever allowed a billionaire to buy his clothes, his glasses, his wife's wardrobe, or house him in a multi-million-pound penthouse in Soho. The depth of this relationship, the money, the favors, it's beyond what's ever been acceptable in British politics. Inside Labour, frustration is boiling. MPs claim that they were kept in the dark about such dealings. Some are now demanding full disclosure. Others quietly sift through internal correspondence and donation records, bracing for what might surface next. What once appeared to be a passing controversy has now grown into a full-blown crisis. And Keir Starmer's silence, once seen as composure, now looks dangerously like evasion. Every day that passes without an explanation diminishes public trust one day at a time and turns what was once touted as a party ready for power into one haunted by doubt and division. The question before Britain is no longer about influence, it's about trust. And in the halls of Westminster tonight, that trust feels perilously thin. Breaking news. And if you thought the gravy train had finally come to a halt, think again. Today brought fresh revelations that went off like detonations across Westminster. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has now admitted to receiving a $20,000 donation from Lord Wad Ali. Money he claims was used to provide accommodation for his 16-year-old son so he could study peacefully for his GCSEs. But the details raise more questions than they answer. That accommodation reportedly refers to Lord Ali's $18 million penthouse in Covent Garden, a property that, according to earlier accounts, was supposedly used for campaign meetings, election night planning, and private work sessions. Now we're told it was simply a quiet study space for his son. Really, it's hard to imagine much peaceful studying happening while campaign celebrations echoed through that same apartment on election night. Starmer tried to defend the decision, saying, "Someone offered me accommodation. Lord Ali and I accepted. It was the right thing to do." But it wasn't. And the longer Starmer stays silent, the faster his reputation begins to fracture. Reform was to be the hallmark of his administration. But without accountability, the principle starts to look less like conviction and more like choreography. The challenge from George Galloway has cut far deeper than Westminster ever expected. It has exposed an unsettling perception now spreading among voters that Labour isn't being led, it's being managed. not necessarily for the public good, but for private gain. This is not the story Labor hoped to tell, but it's the one it's trapped inside every day without a full and transparent answer sharpens the damage. What could have been a short-lived controversy is turning out to be a full-scale political crisis. While scandals vanish beneath the umbrella of apologies or resignations, this one feels very different. More structural, systemic, revealing evidence of a political machine compromised from within. And so the questions growl louder. Who really funds Britain's political parties? Who crafts their policy behind closed doors? And who pulls the strings inside the corridors of government? Starmer's silence no longer looks tactical. It looks self-destructive. What started as one man's accusation has become a national reckoning. The calm, principled image that carried Starr to power is now beginning to crack. Beneath the veneer of polish, many see something disturbingly familiar: secrecy, privilege, and the quiet return of elite politics. This time repackaged in reassuring language from the lexicon of moderation and respectability. Galloway's charges are no longer dismissed as the ravings of a political provocator. They've hit a nerve because they speak to something far deeper than party rivalry. They echo a growing public fear that British democracy itself is being steered by unelected hands. His allegations outline a disturbing network of targeted donations, hidden influence, and media manipulation. A web that the deeper journalist dig seems to trace back to a man at its very center, Lord Watali, right at the heart of Labour's operation. The central question dominating the public debate is no longer whether Lord Ali gave money but what he got in return. Was it privileged access to Downing Street, influence over messaging and policy direction, or even a role in shaping the machinery of government itself? And if those privileges weren't disclosed, but buried, the implications are explosive. Because if even a fraction of this influence reaches into the Prime Minister's office, every decision Starmer now makes will fall under suspicion. Every policy shift, every speech, every strategic pivot will be examined for signs of external control. If one unelected billionaire is quietly steering the course of government, then Britain isn't operating as a democracy, it's performing one. And many now fear that the script has already been written. This story refuses to die because it cuts straight to the public's deepest anxiety. That ordinary voices no longer matter. That elections have become stage-managed performances rather than moments of genuine choice. That leaders no longer serve the people but the powerful few who operate behind the curtain. Galloway didn't invent that fear. He exposed it. He forced Britain to stare directly at the question no politician dares to answer. Who are you really working for? If Lord Ali's money paved the road to power, if his influence shaped Labour's campaign message or its priorities or even his personality, then this government wasn't built for the people. It was built around one man's agenda, and that's the most dangerous form of politics. The kind wrapped in civility and polish, while quietly bending an entire system to private interests. The calculation inside Downing Street appears straightforward. Stay silent, ride out the headlines, wait for outrage to finish. But that's a dangerous misreading of the national mood. Public anger is no longer about the accusations themselves. It's about the evasiveness surrounding them. The silence, the carefully managed answers. The sense that those in power